Also joined by Behnam Ben Taleblu, Senior Fellow at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Behnam, right now we're talking about Israel's potential retaliation towards Iran, possibly not including the nuclear sites that some people might have wanted to see here in Israel. I'm curious your perspective if by going after military targets, Israel might be losing a critical moment of opportunity to actually go after the nuclear or oil sites as well.
Pleasure to be with you all. I think there's a couple of interesting points to flesh out here, which is the deployment of THAAD and the delay in a potential, be it overt or covert, Israeli kinetic response to the second historic, direct, and overt ballistic missile barrage in history. I mean, let's make no bones about it. A direct, overt conventional attack on the territory of a reported nuclear weapon state is something the U.S., nor Soviet Union, nor Russia, nor any other nuclear power have ever done in their history. And the Islamic Republic of Iran is at least not known to be a declared nuclear weapon state. So this is a significant and historic game-changing political calculus that the Islamic Republic has brought to bear here. And I think if the response is anything at all like what we saw from Israel back in April, when it responded to the first direct historic barrage against Israel, then it will be, in my view, insufficient to deter further Iranian risk-taking. Because lest we forget, the Islamic Republic is normalizing striking Israeli territory from its own territory and eerily benefiting from America's fear of a wider war and in essence trying to go around Israel to indirectly negotiate with America through this sort of force.
Behnam, you mentioned the THAAD, Advanced Ballistic Missile Defense System, that the United States has sent to Israel. Reports say that could be up and running within the next week, even with American troops here operating it. Because of that deployment of this advanced system, is that why possibly Netanyahu, the Israeli government, could be softening their expected response towards Iran?
Potentially. I think all of these things are likely ingredients in a cocktail. Not one ingredient is larger or more significant in quantity or quality than the other, but we can't get to a decision or an understanding of what drives Israel's decision to respond in the way that it likely will respond without taking the entire picture into effect. And that's where the U.S. relationship comes in. That's where the military situation against certain targets in the Islamic Republic comes in. That's where the covert versus overt side comes in. That's where the policy of Israel towards Iran in general. Is this designed to be a one-off operation, or is this going to be part of a larger campaign? How does this square with the recent comments by the prime minister to be in support of the Iranian people? All of these things need to be layered and taken into account. So I think, THAAD is one element. It may not be the critical element, but it is one element shaping the pause and shaping the type of response that we're likely to see. But let me just add one footnote here, which is the limited reporting we've seen in English in the Western press, in my view, is actually somewhat problematic because by saying publicly, whether they're leaks from the Israelis or leaks from the Americans or leaks from any side as to what targets are on versus off the table, you do give the Islamic Republic a bit of a reprieve here. And in essence, if you're in the business of putting political pressure on the Islamic Republic, you want to keep them guessing until the last minute.
Behnam, stay with us quickly. Shiri, I see you nodding your head in studio.
I totally agree about the leaks. It's a catastrophe, and it's probably because of the elections, wanting to keep the oil prices down, as Ruth mentioned, and our colleague there. Look, we have to remember that when it comes to Iran, Israel has invested a lot in intelligence in the last decade or couple of decades, unlike what we've seen in Hamas, but more like what we've seen in Lebanon. The intelligence and the capabilities are much stronger, and they're targeted in that. So we have the opportunity to plan and layer it exactly as he said.
Very interesting. Now, I want to move to another story coming out of Iran as well. After weeks of rumors about his fate, General Ismail Qaani, the head of Iran's Al-Quds force, was seen in public this morning for the first time since his rumored death. Our senior correspondent, once again, Bianca Zanini, has the story.
A state funeral ceremony in Iran on Tuesday for a deputy commander in the Revolutionary Guards killed in Lebanon, as thousands of people mourned the death of General Abbas Nilfarshan, who was killed in Beirut along with Hezbollah chief Hassan Nasrallah late last month. This man caught the attention of the media, General Ismail Qaani, who leads the Quds force. Seen in public for the first time after recent rumors and reporting that Qaani had been killed by Israel, arrested and interrogated by Iran, or had died of a heart attack.
We will undoubtedly support all struggles against Israel and the occupying regime.
Qaani was named the head of the Revolutionary Guard Corps International Intelligence Service after the U.S. assassinated his predecessor, Qasem Soleimani, in a drone strike in 2020. He'd been absent since late September, after initial reports that he had been killed in an Israeli airstrike in Beirut. Local and regional media began reporting that he was alive and being investigated on suspicion of involvement in Israeli intelligence infiltration, including on having a role in the killing of Hassan Nasrallah, which kick-started the latest round of escalation between Israel and Iran.
Israel does not have the guts to attack us, and if it does try, Israel will know it has brought its own destruction upon itself.
Israel is expected to retaliate for Iran's latest attack at any moment.
So despite these weeks of rumors and speculation that that leader had been killed, it seems that, at least according to the different footage published today, he is still alive. So, Behnam, I'm curious if there's a purpose to having this be so public, perhaps showing the strength that the Iranian regime claims they still have.
Well, if there is an attempt to feign or project strength, it follows a significant projection of weakness, because for a little over a week and a half now, no one actually knew where Ismail Qaani was, which led to tons of jokes in the Persian domestic dissident and foreign diaspora social media space about this individual and his whereabouts, and if he was anything from a Mossad agent to a lost kitten. So this had led to a lot of speculation that the regime probably seek to quell. But I actually think if this individual was still on the battlefield, that may have one reason. That may be one reason why the Islamic Republic didn't address any of these rumors for a week and a half. You know, you just had Iran's parliament speaker, himself a former IRGC person, in Beirut. Perhaps Qaani was in Beirut and he got on that same plane and came back to Iran, because this is the first, documented picture and video of him in several weeks now. Potentially, if he was also in the field and away from Iranian territory, the Iranians probably assumed that if they alleged he was still alive, even if they didn't have any kind of direct communication with him, the Israelis could have gone after him based on how well punctured Iran's intelligence and security services are. So probably the silence was born out of a sense of weakness, not strength. And having him out there publicly is an attempt to turn that around.
Silence speaks louder than words sometimes, it seems. Behnam Ben Taleblu, thanks so much for your insight.
Thank you.